Every year in the NFL, it's a new team. As far as goals go, we have one. Putting a f***ing ring on our finger.
Welcome to the Buccaneers Observer Podcast. This is Ralph Phillips.
I'm Molly Bay.
Today is August 10th, 2022. 32 days to kickoff, man.
Whoa.
Right around the corner. But better than that, well, I wouldn't say better than that, but we've got a game this Saturday. Preseason game against the Miami Dolphins.
Woo.
First game of the year.
Who I've heard, too, is the next Pat Mahomes, who we know
was
is the next Michael Jordan. So we're in for a real treat, guys.
Well, you know he's going to be the next Pat Mahomes. He's got a little Hall out there running those crazy routes. And speedy.
Hill.
Hill. Here we go, starting already with the names.
I want him and Antoine Winfield Jr. to get into a fight at practice. There's always fights, apparently. Okay, we won't get too far into it. But reportedly, we're getting a little chippy at practice. So
really?
I was just hoping it would be. There's always, with these joint practices, there's always a brawl at a certain point.
Yes. That brings us to today was the first day of joint practices between the Miami Dolphins and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at Tampa. That's where the first preseason games are going to be. And then the next two preseason games are away. So this is the only home preseason game. So we had joint practices today, and things are getting a little tough down there. It's the heat, I guess. Yesterday, Mike Evans left practice with a hamstring injury. Today, Russell Gage left practice with a hamstring injury. And then, we haven't talked about this on the podcast. Ryan Jensen got injured, probably out for the season. He was at practice today, but not dressed up. He was out there with a knee brace, just kind of hanging with the fellas. So Robert Hainsey has been filling in as the starting center, and he left today. And everybody was freaking out. He was kind of carted off the field. Everybody's freaking out. Oh, no. What are we going to do? But it just, apparently it's just cramp related because the heat down there is just insane.
Brutal. I don't know how you people live down there. I don't.
It is
I
hot.
can't take it. I guess you get used to sweating.
Yes.
Right?
I guess. It's really the humidity that gets me down there.
Yeah.
You just, it just drains all your energy. You have to drink constantly.
Yeah.
That's why you got so many party people down there, like drinkers, like
I don't
fish.
think that helps with hydration.
It helps you. I'll say, hey, look at my bottle.
Do you have a green water bottle?
Yes, I do.
Ralph. Oh, my goodness.
So, yes, Ryan Jensen was hurt. He got a knee injury. It was Logan Hall was pushed into him by 64 Aaron Stinney, causing Jensen to be carted out of the field. We still don't have a diagnosis or anything from him. And that happened on July 28th. So we don't know how long he's going to be out, if he's going to undergo surgery, whatever. But, with him walking around with a knee brace at practice, that's a good sign.
Yeah. Yeah. Because if it were any more serious, he'd probably be on the, those little carts that they have when you have some kind of foot or knee injury.
Right. And, he's not going under surgery yet. So that's a good sign.
They just got to get him on that TB12.
Hey, as long as it's about eating meat, he'll get on any diet.
I know, that's the thing with TB12. I don't think you eat a lot of red meat. I think you eat a lot of lean meats.
He will never get on that.
Yeah.
Ryan loves his meats.
Well, for an offensive lineman, does it make sense? Probably not. They need to be bulky. You don't want a skinny offensive lineman.
Right. It's like when Donovan Smith went on that vegan diet.
I think for 2 or 3 weeks.
Did it last that long?
No.
He still might be on it for all we know, but he sure didn't stop talking about it real quick. Mm-hmm. It's a shame with Jensen because we love him here at Buccaneers Observer. He's probably my favorite offensive lineman. He's just, he's a tone setter, plays through the whistle, gets up in people's faces. He's always looking for work. He will blindside you. He will knock you down. He will pancake you. He will sit on you. We've got clips of him actually sitting down on top of guys. And just the fact that he got Gerald McCoy, who is the biggest teddy bear on the planet, to get a personal foul penalty. He smacked Ryan Jensen, didn't he? Didn't he hit him in the head or something?
I think so.
That's how frustrated people get with Ryan Jensen. So, he's going to be missed. And we've got a new right guard and we got a new left guard. We don't know exactly who's going to be at left guard yet. I don't think we're actually sure who's going to be at right guard yet. Now, the Bucs' first depth chart did come out yesterday. We're going to talk about that here in a minute. But those two positions aren't set from what I understand.
Really? Shaq Mason is not like a shoe-in for a right guard?
You would think. But anything could happen. Right now, Aaron Stinney is starting at left guard, according to the depth chart that was released, and Shaq Mason is at right guard. But, you got Luke Godke and Nick Leverett, behind those guys who are chomping at the bit. Mm-hmm. Luke Godke, he's a beast.
We drafted him this year, right?
Yes. And, he's kind of a Ryan Jensen style offensive lineman, a real tough guy that doesn't take any crap. So we'll see. And,
in my opinion, Stinney earned it with last season.
Yes.
I mean, he's definitely got the edge and the advantage.
Yes. And Shaq Mason's got the edge at right guard, having worked with Tom Brady before, and
he's been a starter in the league.
A veteran, yeah.
Yeah.
But, it's funny, on the depth chart at Buccaneers.com that they released, they still have Ryan Jensen as a starting center.
Yeah, I feel like, and that's the thing with them not disclosing his injury too, is that they're not going to do anything until they absolutely have to. I think this is the period where, any kind of disclosure like that is not required. So I feel like teams really play it close to the vest.
Yes. And, there was the issue with his swelling when it first happened, and that's why it took a number of days for them to even come out with anything. It's because the swelling was too big for them to, do a proper scan and stuff. But, it appears from what I'm seeing that it's not as bad as everybody thought it was going to be.
What if it's just like a knee sprain?
I'm not going to be mad.
I know. I think Jensen would be, because he threw such a fit on the field and had to get carted off.
Out there
that's kind
screaming.
of a blow to your
ego.
Yeah.
But that was a typical thing that you have when you have a rookie defensive lineman up against Aaron. Aaron Stinney was playing left guard, and the rookie was trying a little bit too hard. During practice, always do.
Camp.
Yeah, well, they got
something to prove.
Right, exactly. And Stinney, doesn't, he's not coordinated with everybody yet, with, Donovan out there and Ryan Jensen in center. And it was just a slip up, between two basically inexperienced guys. It was nobody's fault. Right. But that's what you get when, and that's really going to, our offensive line has really gone through a change. The whole center of our offensive line, it's going to be totally different. So
I think Todd Bowles had said they kind of need to pick who's going to be the starter so they can really start getting a lot of reps and build that chemistry with the guys around them. Yeah,
Donovan Smith said that he wished they would go ahead and say who's going to be the starting left guard so he can start coordinating with them. So we'll see. It's going to be interesting because, everybody knows that the way you get to Tom Brady is pressure right up the middle. And if it's going to be tough. If I don't care who starts, we could bring in a veteran, 20-year veteran to put him at center, and it's still going to be a rough transition. Remember when Tom Brady first came, him and Ryan Jensen had a hard time coordinate. I think Jensen had 6 bad snaps in the first few games. They had fumbled issues and all that good stuff. And it doesn't matter who you have there. It takes a long time for those guys to get comfortable with each other. So
and developing offensive linemen takes a while.
yeah.
So we've had Hainsey.
Yeah.
Was this his 3rd year, I think? And we've been developing him that whole time. But, there's nothing like having starting snaps.
Yes. Yeah, it's the hardest position to do out there as far as teamwork is concerned. Those guys really have to work together a lot. And it's going to be tough having 3 new guys right in the dead middle of our offensive line, which everybody knows is that's how you get to Brady. If you're going to fluster Brady at all, it's got to be quick pressure up the middle. So we'll see. I honestly think, and we've talked about this, that we're gonna do a slight bit more running, just to protect Brady a little bit, get the offensive line, because offensive lines prefer run blocking because they get to attack, and give those guys a little bit more confidence, a little bit of working together, and it's not as disastrous. If you screw up run blocking, it's nowhere near as bad as if you screw up pass blocking. So give them some confidence.
I was going to say that. Are they going to compensate for that weakness up the middle by focusing more on the run game?
I think so.
Yeah.
Just for the first few weeks.
Strategy.
Yeah.
Well, we had talked about them kind of shifting that way anyway. So.
Yeah. Well, with the PA, running was always an afterthought. If it was up to him, he'd probably never run the ball.
Which is so weird. He was a running quarterback.
Yeah.
He set the record at Tech.
Right.
Michael Vick didn't even break it.
But, Todd Bowles, he's a defensive coordinator, got that mindset. Defensive coordinators always want to run the ball more on offense because it gives their defense time to rest. They're always thinking defense. How can I help my defense? Well, you run the ball more. And he's come out and said he wants the offense to be more run focused.
I think the whole fan base is with him too.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, come on now. I mean, we all know that the game has shifted. It's a pass-oriented, pass-dominant game, and we have the wide receivers and we have the quarterback to do it, and the tight ends. But you got to run the ball, and so many times in the past few years, we'd have a great run game going, and then we just quit. We just start just passing it. And I think we set the record for fewest runs. Right? We have 6.
5. Yeah. 5 or 6.
In a game against New Orleans, wasn't it? We were just we just abandoned it.
Yeah.
And during the Rams playoff game, we come out, I think we had 4 or 5 runs by Fournette to start the game off, and he was just beating them up, and then we just drifted away from it. So I'd definitely like to see, more, mix it up a little bit more and have more running. And I think we're going to get that this year.
A good run, too. Just remember when we had LeGarrette Blount.
Yes.
And those runs. I mean, it gave the offense so much life. They were so fun to watch.
That was the hardest player that I've ever, when we got rid of him, Shiano, man. I hated that. I just, and this is, I saw John Lynch leave. I saw Warren Sapp leave. I saw I've seen so many players leave the Buccaneers, and LeGarrette Blount leaving was the hardest one for me to swallow. I was just like, what are we doing? Because, man, he would just get the team fired up with those runs. And, Fournette has some good runs. When he pops off some good runs, he pops off some good runs.
Yeah, he's had some where it's been 3-4 guys trying to tackle him, and he just slips right through.
And the one against, I want to say it was the Panthers. No, that was I can't remember. He had a great run where Donovan Smith lead blocked and just plowed that guy.
The Packers? Remember that last drive with the Packers?
Last year.
I can't remember.
Yeah, it was like a 45-yard run. It was just beautiful. Yeah. And, when you do that, it just gets the whole team amped up. Yeah, normally when you have a run like, some good running, it's hard to lose. So hopefully we'll see some more of that this year.
It's easier to control the game. You control the clock. You could run the score, and we can score at will with our receivers. So, we got that covered.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you get a strong running game, it's much easier to kind of control the game.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I love to see Mike Evans and Chris Godwin out there, which, Chris Godwin's back on the field. He hasn't done any team drills yet. He's doing one-on-one. But every time I see that hit, I'm like, I don't know how that guy is back out on the field already.
And they were saying, he's not going to be back till November.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell is that TB12, guys?
It's the miracle.
Voodoo. I don't really care what it is, honestly.
Yeah,
Keep doing it.
Over there sacrificing babies. So, yeah, Mike Evans, he left yesterday with a hamstring. Russell Gage left today with a hamstring. Hainsey left today with cramps. Those are all heat related. Mm-hmm. And Mike Evans does that quite a bit. We had the problem the first year with Bruce Arians. He just ran his receivers too hard. And he said the second year, he's like, I realized that I was, with this heat, you can't run the receivers like I want to. So,
well, our receivers apparently are running all over the Dolphins DBs, so.
Really?
Yeah. In practice. So, we'll see on, when's the game, Saturday?
Saturday.
Okay. Yay.
8 p.m., I believe.
Oh my gosh, I'm going to have to stay up late.
Let me see. No, 7:30 p.m. on WFLA TV. Yes. And then after that, we put the Saturday after that, we go to Tennessee, play the Titans at 7 p.m. And then the next week on Saturday, we go to the Colts.
Oh, okay.
And play
them.
them.
Get to see Matt Ryan.
Yes.
But
he ain't going to play.
I know. Well, I was just going to say that with the 3 games rather than 4 games, which it looks like that's how they're going to do it going forward, I would suspect. They haven't quite, there were kind of rules and norms, not rules, that the teams will go by. You'd see your starters the 3rd week, and then, the starters are not playing the 4th week. So now that there's only 3 games, it's like, okay, when are we going to see the starters? That's what everyone wants to know. That's what everyone cares about. Yeah,
I think last year the starters did a quarter in week 3. Mm-hmm. But this year, the starters aren't going to start week 1. Not the big guys anyhow. We're probably not going to see Mike Evans out there. We're definitely not going to see Tom Brady. Offensive line will probably have our starters out there so they can get some reps in together.
Yeah.
Defensive line, don't know what we're going to see there.
I would say probably like Logan Hall. We'll see him. Akeem Hicks.
Maybe a series.
Yeah, I just think to get them up to game speed together. Yeah. Like, again, with that cohesion with the offensive line, you need that with the defensive line too. So.
Yeah, we talked about this last year with the 3-game preseason. That really hurts guys trying to make teams. Mm-hmm. They just do not get the time out there, to get some tape on the field like they would have with 4 games. But I'm interested to see our guys. I love our 2nd stringers and our 3rd stringers. Our whole team is awesome, so I get excited watching those guys get to go out there. Get to see Grant Stewart, Cam Gill.
I know. Well, we saw Nelson in some of the clips from the Bucs media, or not Bucs media, the Bucs social media, the official team social media. And Nelson had tipped a ball, right? And that's Logan Ryan picked it off. That was the highlight. He's so big. Anthony Nelson.
Yeah, he's huge.
He's huge.
Yeah, when he was walking back to the huddle, I was like, who is that dude? Is a giant, just tall.
He's like a Frankenstein.
Yeah.
That's what he reminds me of.
Yes. Now, see, he's the kind of guy that can go back into coverage. Mm-hmm. Defensive lineman, outside linebacker, whatever you would call him. So, yeah, the depth chart came out yesterday. And it was pretty much typical what you expected, but there was a few interesting things. One, like I said, Ryan Jensen is still listed as a starting center, which, they might have the information that he could make it back, which would be crazy.
I think they're just going to wait until the last possible minute to put him on IR.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
There's no way he's not going to miss some time, I don't think.
Yeah.
But I don't think it might not be the whole season like we all were feared.
I agree. Yeah. I'm thinking I'd be happy if he's back week 8, like midway through.
But he hasn't missed a snap since 2017, back when he was with the Ravens. He hasn't missed a single snap or a start with us since he's been here, 2019. So, he's going to do everything he can to get on that field.
He can do it.
Yeah. Some of the interesting things about the depth chart, Mike Edwards is a starting safety. Now, we got Logan Ryan and Keanu Neal, the 2 veterans who brought them in free agency. But Mike Edwards has beat them out.
I love that. And we talked about that when we lost Jordan Whitehead. Mm-hmm. And I think we said, I'm just going to put this out there, that we could see Mike Edwards starting. I mean, he's a Todd Bowles guy. Todd Bowles drafted him, right? He's a BA guy.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So I'm like, he is a playmaker.
Yes.
I mean, he's spectacular. How many interceptions did he have? Mm-hmm. And that's really what they're focusing on this season. Todd Bowles has said they're putting an emphasis on takeaways and interceptions.
They need to put an emphasis on tackling, which he said that too, that their tackling has not been up to par. So, and their tackling is not horrible, but for this type of elite team, they need to get better at their tackling. Sean Murphy-Bunting beat out Jamal Dean for the cornerback spot.
I'm not surprised.
Me neither.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like last season, Dean was not.
No.
Didn't have a great season.
Disappointed in him. I had high hopes for him. And don't get me wrong, I don't think Dean's bad. I did not like his performance in that Rams game. And a lot of people say, SMB got beat in the Rams game. I think he gave up 166 yards or some crap like that. But, he didn't screw up like Dean did, in my opinion. Just the effort-wise.
Yeah. I would say Dean has had a sophomore slump. And
yeah.
I don't know. He can rebound this year.
Well, I hope he does, man, because he's got the skills.
Mm-hmm.
He just needs the attitude. He's too laid back.
Was Dean the starter last year over?
Well, the secondary was just hurt all over the place. And
I remember that, and SMB got hurt early on, but before he got hurt, wasn't he the starter?
I think so.
Over Dean.
Yeah.
Okay. So to me, it wasn't surprising. I think I don't know, I saw a lot of people on Twitter were surprised about it, but it made sense to me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good decision, I think. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So hopefully, Dean will have a little bit more fire under him this year. Do you remember that against the Eagles in the playoffs? I think it was in the playoffs. Let me see. Anyhow, Dean fell down in coverage, and the receiver was wide open in the end zone, and they threw it. The ball was going towards the receiver, and he's just standing there. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Mike Edwards comes. I'm pretty sure it was Mike Edwards, just comes flying over and intercepts the ball. That was one of the most beautiful plays of the season.
Yeah.
Just out of nowhere, you were thinking, oh, my gosh, there it is. They're going to get a touchdown. And he just comes over. He had so much momentum that he had to toe tap, when he caught the ball. And he did it. So, yeah, flew right out of bounds.
That is Mike Edwards' forte, I think.
Mm-hmm.
What makes him special are those interceptions.
Yeah,
he's really good at it.
Yeah, it's ball hawk.
Yeah.
He's there for fumbles and strips and punching the ball out and the interceptions and tips.
A lot of these young guys, to their credit, like Devin White, are good, have really good ball awareness when it pops out. Someone's always on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Shaq Barrett's pretty good at that too.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
He's always had to get around Sue And Vita scrambling to find the ball after he'd knock it out or whatever.
Oh, I'm so sad about Sue.
Yeah.
Still.
But Vita Vea did a mic'd up, which was pretty funny. Go check that out, guys. He's just a character. But it seems like him and Akeem Hicks have a real good bond going on, which that was a big thing between Vita and Sue. They had a pretty good bond, I thought. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that too. And he's he's a huge trash talker.
Mm-hmm.
But kind of subtle. And he does it to everybody. He was doing it to the water boy.
Yeah.
He was messing with one of
the coaches, water boy. He was cracking up. He's walking around telling everybody, he says, yeah, I'm the snitch today. I got my FBI wired mic on.
I bet they do that. Just warn at each other.
Oh, yeah, you got to.
Yeah.
Be careful what you say, man.
Yeah.
So, back to the depth chart. Julio Jones, surprisingly, second stringer.
Okay.
Yeah,
Love
he's
it.
behind Mike Evans. Russell Gage has got the number 3 wide receiver spot.
Mm-hmm.
But, everybody's saying Julio's out there just tearing it up.
Mm-hmm. I think I don't feel like the depth chart with the receivers is going to be very useful. Because I think they are going to, we have so many guys. It's just so easy to rotate them.
Yeah, and
in and out.
A lot of times, we put 4 or 5 wide receivers on the field.
Yeah, yeah.
A lot. So, the top 3, the top 2 are set. We know that. Evans and Godwin, and pretty much everybody else behind them are going to be in rotation quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
The tight ends, it looks like we've got, that's pretty much set. It's about what you expect. You got Cameron Brate in
Number
first
1?
place. Yep. Okay. Kyle
Okay.
Rudolph is behind him. And then Cade Oden is the third.
I've heard good things about him.
Yeah, me too. Then O'Keefe and Jay Howland, Ben Beasy, and Bug Howard. Bug. They're all others. They're listed in the other spot.
So the bottom 3 are going to be out.
Yeah. We'll see what happens with them. Here we go with the Zoom. It's just rude. Zoom puts up a big message saying you've got
10 minutes left.
That's their new thing, trying to get everybody to buy their product.
Yeah. We'll never buy it.
Never do it, man. Aren't they a Chinese company?
Yeah.
So that's our depth chart. Everything looks about what you expect. Saints put out their depth chart.
Oh.
Michael Thomas looks like he's going to be starting, and we'll see him in week 2 if he doesn't re-injure.
If he stays with the team.
Yeah. All right. Haven't heard any bad stuff coming from him.
Yeah,
on
me
it.
neither.
But they're, man, this division is just total crap.
Mess.
Yeah, it is. But, the Saints, until we beat them, you got to say there's something there.
Mm-hmm.
But they do have Jameis Winston starting and Andy Dalton as a backup.
What about Taysom Hill?
Yeah, I don't know. Don't know what's going on with that.
What?
He's
still under contract. They paid him a lot of money.
Right, but that was Sean Payton's dude. He's not even listed in the quarterback roster.
What's he listed as?
I do not know.
At all? They didn't cut him, did they?
No, he's still.
Okay, probably a tight end or receiver or something.
I do not see him on the depth chart at all.
That's weird.
Oh, no, you're right. He is. He's a tight end.
Oh, wow.
Him and Adam Trotman are fighting for the first tight end spot. They're both listed as number 1 tight end right now.
Oh, my gosh.
Wow. That's tough. That's probably one of the most expensive tight ends in the league, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the Panthers put their depth chart out. Here's a mess. You want to see a mess? Go look at the Panthers depth chart. They still have not made a decision on their starting quarterback, so they've got Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield as the starting quarterback. Maybe they'll rotate him in and out. Mm-hmm. Who was it that did that one year? Oh, my gosh.
Well, they did it with Cam Newton last year. They would, like, put him in.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was somebody that had two.
I want to say the Giants did that, or they, like, all season long, they had the starting quarterbacks. That was many years ago, just rotating in and out. That's a surefire way to not have a cohesive team.
Yeah.
The Falcons depth chart, man, oof. Just, you look at these teams in our division and you go, what are they doing? Like the Panthers, I have no idea what they're doing.
I don't either.
They were absolutely trash last year. I mean, they started off with a bang, relatively, and then just did nothing. And, by the time we faced them, that team had quit.
Mm-hmm. They were done.
Yeah, they didn't even try. We just ran over top of them. And, they didn't do anything in the draft, hardly. I think they had 4 players they drafted. 5. Didn't do crap in free agency. What do they do? I mean, do they really think that they have a team over there? I just don't get it.
I don't know. And it's like, you got these coaches that came from college. They kind of know they're in over their heads. That's how I feel. I feel like they're way in over their heads. And the owner, too. I feel like the owner came in trying to make these drastic, bold moves. Mm-hmm. Which the team is an investment to him, and I can see.
Yeah, me and Molly were talking about that last night. The Detroit Lions, they got the HBO came out last night with the Hard Knocks, which I want to watch it this year. We haven't watched Hard Knocks in forever, but that's usually the start of the season is when Hard Knocks comes out. And I like the Lions, and I like their new head coach and stuff, so might end up checking that out. But we got to talking about how, Detroit's ownership is just crap. It's like the Browns. And ownership means a lot. Mm-hmm. But what we're seeing in the NFL right now is a shift from ownership that are football people to ownership that are investment people. Tepper is a perfect example. And now we've got the sale to Denver Broncos to the Walton girl.
No, I think it's the guy.
Okay, one of the Walton.
Yeah, one of the Walton.
It's not football dude.
Yeah.
And we're seeing that all over the league where teams are being bought by not football people, and that's going to hurt the product, man. That's what you're seeing in Carolina. Tapper, whatever his name is. He comes in. He's an investment banker. Mm-hmm. He's not a football dude. Mm-hmm. You get guys like Jerry Jones. Whether you like him or hate him, that guy is a football dude. He's there in the meetings. He's he's involved in the draft, and you might think that that's not good for an owner, but damn, this guy will spend his life and his money trying to build a better team.
And that's the thing about him is every move he makes, love him or hate him, it is to make his football team better.
Right,
it's what he thinks is going to make his football team better.
Right, he wants to win, and not so that he can make money. He wants to have a winning football team.
He's already got the most valuable franchise.
Yeah.
So he doesn't need to increase his value.
Right. So, we're seeing a drift away from that. And I think a lot of it has to do with Goodell. He's not a football dude. He's a money guy. And he's done a great job with bringing money into the league. But I don't think he's done a great job with the game of football itself.
No, I don't think he cares about the game of football.
No. Yeah, he's worried about the lawsuits and the appearance and the politics and the
marketing.
The marketing. Yeah, right. And, it's just how life is. Things change and evolve. But, I'm just like, oh, man, I just hate to see this. So here it is, the Carolina Panthers. I don't hate to see it with the Carolina Panthers. Mm-hmm. But, it's like they feel like we're good. They got the crappiest team in the division.
And it's like not even close. Like, I don't think they can even be competitive at this point.
Well, I don't know, man. I thought that the Falcons were not that bad, but then when I looked at their depth chart, oof, yeesh, it's horrible. The Falcons, I don't know any of their wide receivers. Don't know a single one of them. They have one guy named Geronimo Hill, I think. And I'm like, hey, I kind of remember that name, but I'm not. It might be because I grew up. Geronimo was a big thing.
Yeah, it's like a unique name.
Yeah, but their number one wide receiver is Olamide Zacchaeus. You ever heard of him?
Mm-mm.
Me neither. They're number
How
2.
many of them are rookies?
No, they're not rookies. These guys are like veterans. This guy's a 4-year veteran. And then the other guy, Kaderil Hodge, their number 2 wide receiver. Yeah, he's like a 5-year veteran. He's been on like 6 different teams, the Rams and Detroit and all this. Never heard of him. That's their number 1, number 2 wide receiver.
And then they got Marcus Mariota.
Right. Starting. Marcus Mariota. And behind him is Desmond Ridder. And then behind him is Felipe Franks. Which you remember him from last year?
No.
I was kind of impressed with him. He came in for half a game or something. I was like, I kind of like that guy. But he's their 3rd stringer. I mean, who are these guys? Desmond Ridder and Marcus Mariota. We know what we're getting with him. Mm-hmm. You're not getting a pocket passing quarterback. Let's put it that way. Mm-hmm. And their wide receivers. I mean, are they going to just depend totally on their run game? Cordell Peterson?
I think so. I mean, he is that type of back. I can totally see him being that type of back where he carries an offense.
Yeah. Yeah, they said they're going to get away from using him as a wide receiver as much as they did.
How are they going to do that when they've got the crops that they have in the wide receiver core?
They might go for just, real run heavy.
Yeah.
Offense. I don't know, man. I
know. Do you want Marcus Mariota passing it? Not really. I mean,
no, it's going to be all RPOs and options and stuff.
Yeah.
So the Panthers, you've got, there's really nothing there. I mean, their wide receiver core is DJ Moore, Rashad Higgins, Robbie Anderson, Terrace Marshall. And, they still got Christian McCaffrey, but who knows how healthy he's going to be. I mean, God, for the past few years, he's been out with injuries. And Chuba Hubbard. There's just nothing there. They got Brian Burns on defense. He's good. Mm-hmm. I've liked him. Although Donovan Smith always just dominates him.
That's why we like him so much.
Yeah. They got Shaq Thompson. But, I mean, good Lord. That's it.
Well, and remember their whole defensive front they had drafted 2 years ago. Remember they spent all 7 draft picks on defensive players?
That's right, yeah.
And so those are all relatively fresh guys.
Yeah, it looks like with the Falcons, they're just going to rely heavily on Kyle Pitts, their tight end. I guess. I don't know. I don't know these wide receivers. Geronimo Allison, Damier Byrd, Auden Tate, Kaderil Hodge. I don't know, man. They might come out of nowhere and surprise us, but I think that the Falcons are in a rebuild mode, and the Panthers are in a rebuild mode. They just don't know it. I don't see how Matt Rule is going to survive.
No. He can't. My prediction is he's out midway through the year.
Really? This year?
Yeah. Didn't we talk about this already?
Yeah, I said they'd give him one more year.
Okay, I thought this was his 3rd year, but it's his 2nd, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, no, I don't.
I mean, he could. If they just come out and start laying eggs all over the place, we'll get to see how that new owner handles embarrassment.
not well.
They usually don't, do they?
No.
Atlanta, I don't even know what to say about all that. Saints, again, until we beat them, we got to see them as a threat. Mm-hmm. They're definitely not a threat to take the division. I don't think they're a threat to make it to the playoffs. They're just a threat. They just got our number somehow, some way. Mm-hmm. Mainly because of the refs. Don't know what's going on with that, but the refs allow them to do a bunch of nasty stuff. But the Colts, Matt Ryan went to the Colts, and Matt Ryan's a good quarterback. I don't care. He's a good quarterback, and he's great in the pocket. And last year, he was doing all that scrambling stuff. It was just atrocious. He's just not built for it. So he's not going to have to do that because the Colts have a monstrous offensive line. They've got a great run game. Their defense is pretty good. The Colts are going to be a force this year. We might see Matt Ryan make it back to the playoffs. And it wouldn't surprise me to see him in the championship or even make it to the Super Bowl.
I agree. And last year, they were kind of a powerhouse. They put up a fight against us. They were right there. And it was kind of Carson Wentz who held them back. Yes,
that game against Jacksonville where they just...
between his performance on the field and getting hurt and having them stuck with a backup, you can't, in both respects, it's like there was no way he was going to put them in a position to win. Mm-hmm. So, they have all the pieces in place in Indianapolis to make a run at it, I think.
Yes. And, I've always talked about Matt Ryan, how he's great technically, but he just doesn't have that leadership oomph that you need. Mm-hmm. And there's reports coming out of the Colts that he's kind of an asshole. Some of the players have said that. And Matt Ryan was questioned about it, and he was like, yeah, I kind of am. He says, I'm not here to make friends.
Oh, God.
So, yeah. So
that attitude.
Right.
Does not get you far as a quarterback.
Yeah, he's going to a team that's already established. Mm-hmm. I don't know if they need his leadership there. You always want your quarterback to be the leader of the team, but, they've got some pretty good veterans there that'll, can direct the ship, I guess.
But I think you also don't want somebody who's going to piss off everybody else in the locker room because then they revolt against you.
Mm-hmm. Right. How much of that happened in Atlanta? We don't know.
Yeah.
28-3. Anybody? That was a meltdown.
Well, he did get to a point in the last few years when his offensive line was just letting him get beat up and he really didn't have any help anywhere else. How well does someone with that kind of temperament and who's been in the league long enough to know that that's not the standard that's going to get you anywhere? Mm-hmm. How does that play out? The combination of all those factors play out and contribute to that.
Yes. Yeah, I kind of wish we played them this year, but I'm going to keep an eye on them. Them and the Jets. The Jets, I think last year, at the end of the year, they really gelled, playing some good football. I don't think they're going to win the division. Probably won't even make the playoffs. It's possible, but, I think they'll have a good, solid winning record this year. I think they're an up-and-coming team. But those two teams in the AFC, I'm real eager to watch. And the Ravens. I always enjoy watching the Ravens. They're old school football, and I just like that.
If Lamar Jackson can stay on the field. It's been weird the past 2 years. He's had issues. And it's not even injury. It's illness. He's been out for extended periods with illness.
Yeah.
And, they've always had, it's like with Flacco, they didn't need their quarterback to be a superstar. They just needed him to, be slightly above average. And so Lamar, I think they've kind of built up into the superstar status because he is a kind of flashy, like Pat Mahomes. Most running quarterbacks are like that. But it is just odd that he hasn't been able to stay on the field the past 2 years.
Mm-hmm. But they they're just so much fun to watch with their blocking and tackling because they're just masters at it.
And just consistent for years.
Yep, ever since Harbaugh's been there.
Yeah. And that division, Big Ben's out of Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what's going to happen with them?
What's going to happen there? And then you've got the Bengals, who just lost the Super Bowl. So what's going to happen there? You got the Browns, who just brought in the highest paid quarterback ever. What's going to happen there? Which they're kind of hanging their hat on him.
Yeah. So speaking of him, they said a six game suspension is what was recommended, and then the NFLPA before that came out said that they were not going to appeal, and they asked the NFL not to appeal. Well, the arbitrator recommended 6 game suspension, and then the NFL appealed it. I guess they want a full season suspension. I don't get it, man.
I think it's optics. Well, I think for
again, that goes back to Goodell.
Yes, absolutely, 100%. Did you break your chair?
Yeah, I broke my toy Barbie blender.
That'll happen. That's how Ralph keeps busy during the day. It's like after the Washington Commanders fiasco with all their sexual assault allegations, I think he wants to put the perception forward that the league is tough on these types of allegations. It is funny that the NFLPA came out and tried to get the NFL to agree not to appeal. It's like they already knew that the suspension was going to be low, the recommendation. Right. Which 6 games, I think, is as good as you could have expected. I mean, to me, 4 games, that's what they give for PEDs. That's kind of the standard to me, like 4. So 6, that's not too bad.
Well, here's my thing about it is, 1, 2 grand juries refused to indict him. That is, to me, a huge statement that there's nothing there. You get these lawyers who do these class action suits. This happens all the time in every industry. These lawyers, they're ambulance chasers, basically. It's kind of the whole, where we got the whole CTE thing, because these lawyers filed a class action lawsuit, got a whole bunch of players to come together and say, the NFL needs to deal with our post-career health care, and so the CTE became a thing. And that's what's happening here. This lawyer is just getting as many women as he can to say all this stuff. And the grand jury twice refused to indict. That to me screams that this isn't what everybody thinks it is, so I don't know, man.
I think with a civil lawsuit, like, you get to put anything in there, and they do have to prove those allegations eventually, but I think the initial complaint, you put so much salacious, outrageous stuff in there, and that's what gets released to the public. So that's how the actions got initiated against him, and then the attorneys, the plaintiff's attorneys, will go ahead and send that to the whole media, and the media picks out the most ridiculous, absurd parts of it, and all those get litigated in court if it ever goes to court. But if it never does, that's what's out there in the court of public opinion.
Right.
And so I think the NFL is kind of weighing that, like, what's the public think?
Right.
What's the public perception?
This isn't a matter of justice. This is a matter of perception.
Yeah.
The guy's not being charged criminally.
Right.
This is a civil suit, which has low standards of evidence and all that good stuff. And, he settled with a lot of them just to try and get it out of the way. I don't know what the guy did. I don't
I mean, they're all, like, a lot of the allegations are pretty consistent, but
that could be coached.
Weird, and they're look, as a woman, like, you encounter some weird stuff sometimes, like, it just whatever. It's not like it doesn't just because something. I don't know. I don't really want to get into it that much, but it's just like we're just everything that makes you uncomfortable or weird is sexual assault now,
Right,
and you're just
right.
like, can we please stop watering the definition of that down? Like it's very serious,
Right.
you know. And now we've just everything that you don't like is sexual assault.
Yes, and there's the whole women are equal to men. They can go to war and fight, and you see in the the media they portray women as these strong sword swinging, gun toting, beating up guys, but then they're so fragile that they can't see a man's penis under a towel, type thing. It's just like, oh, can we get some standards as to what
Consistency?
Yeah, and it's so easy to accuse people of stuff in this day and age. And, I don't think that the NFL has enough there to suspend him for a whole season.
Mm-hmm.
And for them to be as dogmatic about it as they are, it's all politics. It's all optics. They're saying, look, we want to show that no matter what, we will come down hard on this type of stuff. And then you've got Camara, who assaulted a dude, busted him all up and everything, and they're not even talking about that.
Mm-mm.
He's getting to play.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's
he
a
went
criminal
through prison
charge.
time.
Yeah. Nobody cares about that. It's just like, ooh, can't be showing people your wee-wee.
Let that be a lesson to you guys.
Right. You could beat somebody senseless and crush their skull in, but
Put them in the hospital.
yeah,
That's fine.
don't show your wee-wee. Or whatever. I mean, this is all weird. This is all weird. I don't care. But you pointed out, and this was so funny, his whole thing was that he had these masseuses that he would go to and,
And then surprise, penis.
yeah, surprise, oops. And, so that's the big thing, it's all these masseuses. He apparently likes to do weird things with masseuses. Well, what is it? The National Masseuse Union or Organization Convention is in Cleveland this year. It's like going to be held. Is
Like he's just going to be like this the whole week.
I mean, are they going to have to tie him down?
I want to go wearing a Deshaun Watson jersey.
I think they should strap a GoPro on him,
my
let him
gosh.
go and live stream it.
He would definitely get suspended for that.
When are they having that convention? Is it during the season?
Why are you trying to go, Ralph?
No, maybe it's during his suspension and he'll have some free time.
I don't
Are they
know
going to
what it
bar
is.
him from it? Vanny, could you imagine if he walked in?
I know. Like, can you?
Oh, hell, they'd all line up. Let me get part of that class action lawsuit. Let's go in the back room.
Oh, man.
Yeah. The Saints and the Falcons and the Carolina. Carolina and the Falcons look really, really bad. So we're just going to curb stomp them. And hopefully we're going to do that to the Saints this year, too, because I'm sick of them beating us.
I know.
I
I'm
really hate that
optimistic. We'll see.
Speaking of the Saints, Quan Alexander played with them. They released him this year. He only had a 1-year contract, and they let him go. He went to the Jets. And apparently...
Wasn't he already there? No, he was with San Francisco. That's where he went.
No, they signed him yet. Yeah, they signed him last week. So, the guy, he can't get a foothold anywhere, it seems like. And, of course, they're talking him up. He's doing it. He's having a great preseason. He always does. I mean, the guy's a spectacular player, but he just can't stay healthy.
Yeah.
And he's got a little bit of too much oomph.
Yeah, I don't know. Is it a technique issue? He just always ends up hurting himself.
Yeah. Yeah, he flies in too hard and stuff. Kind of like Whitehead was doing, and then he got hit in the head that time, and he kind of stopped doing that.
Yeah. Well, and he had shoulder problems, too.
Yeah, well, that's what they fly in with their shoulders, hit with their shoulders and stuff. The Washington Commanders, Rivera...
The commies.
They fired their, defensive coordinator, Mills?
Yeah.
Was he a defensive coordinator? Yeah, released him yesterday.
I thought it was defensive line coach.
Might have been defensive line coach. Yeah, but he's been with Rivera for a long time. He was with him at the Panthers. Apparently, Mills and the players didn't get along. So,
Ooh, that's rough.
yeah. So Rivera's taking the side of the players, not his own coaches. Yeah. Good. Can't wait to see them
I know.
become a dumpster fire.
I know. Yeah. I can't find it. Oh, you just sent it to me. Hold on. No.
Yeah, defensive line coach.
Defensive line. Okay.
Yeah.
I have the upcoming calendar. You want to talk about that?
Sure.
The NFL deadlines. So with roster cuts, we're at 90 now, right?
Yes.
By next Tuesday, the 16th, we got to be down to 85 at 4 o'clock. So we got to cut 5 guys.
Okay.
Which last year we did that really quickly, like right after the first preseason game, I think. We were down to the 85 really quickly. And then we got to be down to 80 by the 23rd, so a week later. And then we have to put, clubs that have players in the active or PUP list, or active and non-football injury list, have to either place the player on reserve, PUP list, or so basically, they either got to put them on the IR or the PUP list. So maybe by the 23rd we'll get some answers with Ryan Jensen. And then August 30th is the big deadline to get it down, the roster down to 53.
August 30th.
Yeah.
Man, that's right around the corner.
Yeah.
That gives us 11 days before week 1 to have our team set. All right. Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
So we start the season off playing at Dallas Sunday night.
Oh, hold on a second. I have a slight correction. So it looks like by August 31st, any player on IR, you can designate them for return later.
Yeah, they changed all the IR rules and everything
Yeah.
because of the viruses. And I don't think we're ever going to go back. It's probably going to stay.
Just like preseason.
Now, yeah, it's all weird. It's kind of like all the supplemental draft stuff and everything. Nobody knows. It's just guys pop in and out of IR now like it's nothing.
Yeah.
Who knows? Yeah, so 32 days until kickoff. Our first game is against Dallas. It's going to be at Dallas. We're playing Sunday night at 8:20 p.m. in BC.
So week 1, we get a Sunday night game.
Week 1, we get a Sunday night game.
Wow. Well, that stinks. We got to get through all the crap
I
ones.
know.
No, those are fun, though. It's fun. But I do I like having the 1 o'clock game
games,
week
man.
1.
Yeah.
I love the 1 o'clock games.
And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of those next year's. Yeah. Or this year.
You watch the game, you get through it, you got time for a nap, you got more football after you wake up.
Yep. So we've got 5 primetime games, 6 1 o'clock games, 1, 2, 3, 4 4 o'clock games, and then the 1 9:30 a.m. game in Germany.
I hate those.
Yeah, that's going to be a disaster. But, hey, the Goodell expanding the league.
Mm-hmm.
We got two European games now.
Trying to sell that merchandise over in Europe.
Try it. Expansion, man, that's what it's all about. If you ain't growing, you're dying. Is that what they say in the business world? Oh, my goodness. So, this Saturday, preseason game, we're going to get to see a lot of our backups. It's going to be pretty much all of our backups. We're not going to see hardly any starters. Definitely not going to see Tom Brady. Miami's probably going to do the same. We're not going to see Hall or Tua or any of those guys. Waddle. But it's going to be fun. I'm excited about it. First real football of the season. It's hard to believe it's here already.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and we have a lot of guys who we're not familiar with that we're going to get to see a little bit of what they can do.
Yeah.
So Logan Hall, our draft picks, and then we got some guys who are new.
Yeah. We'll probably see Logan Hall quite a bit.
Ryan. Yeah. So.
Apparently, Tryon is going to be our starting right or outside linebacker.
That makes me a little sad.
Well, Cam Gill's right behind him, so we'll see. Yeah, it does. No more JPP.
I'll still wear his jersey.
Yeah. Good guy. He hasn't been picked up anywhere. Neither is Sue. Very strange. That might be the end of their careers.
Could be.
I don't see how Sue, people aren't picking him up.
I know.
Guy's never missed a game due to injury.
And had a good season last season.
I know. I mean, he was our best player against the Rams on defense. It's just in that playoff game. It's just so weird. This is weird how things work out. But anyhow, it is what it is. Bucs are steamrolling ahead. We are going to take this division for sure. Chances are pretty good. We're going to, be fighting for the Super Bowl again this year. Real good chances at that. So we'll see. We'll see how this team pans out in the first few weeks. There's going to be some rough spots. It's going to be rough, especially with the offensive line, getting some of our new wide receivers into this system, getting our new defensive guys on that line up to speed. We're going to have some rough spots, but we'll be cruising by midseason. And that's where we really need to start looking at us as that's where our midseason team is going to be our team for the year.
And then what Tom Brady says, like, real football starts after Thanksgiving.
Yes. Yeah.
So we got some time, guys.
Yeah. I'm excited about it, man. All right. That's going to wrap it up for us. You got anything else?
I do not.
All righty. Till next time.
Go Bucs.